Okay, here's a wild idea for you. What if our own skeletons held a hidden message? In this explainer, we're diving into a fascinating theory from our source material which suggests our bones aren't just biological, but actually form a detailed numerical blueprint. So, the whole premise of this analysis really boils down to this one central question. Could our anatomy possibly contain a hidden mathematical message? Well, that's exactly what our source material explores, and it presents a series of connections that are frankly pretty hard to ignore.
So, how does this all work, right? To even begin to understand the theory, we first have to look at the foundational math it's built on. According to the source, this is the key that supposedly unlocks the entire code.
The system starts by assigning numerical values to some key names. Jesus is linked to the number 24, which they get from 8 plus 8 plus 8. Christ is given the value 37, and Jesus Christ is 73. Now, the source claims these numbers are derived directly from bone counts that we're going to see in a minute. For now, just try to remember these three core numbers, 24, 37, and 73.
So, with that numerical system in place, our source begins its tour of the human body. And our first stop is the torso, focusing specifically on the structure of the rib cage.
The analysis starts with the simple, verifiable fact of human anatomy. We have 24 ribs in total, 12 on each side. Seems like a straightforward number, but it's one the source immediately connects right back to its system. And here it is, the first major connection the analysis makes. It argues that the number 24 isn't just arbitrary, but that it represents 8 plus 8 plus 8, which in its system is the numerical signature for Jesus. But the analysis dives deeper. The source points out that 7 ribs connect directly to the sternum, linking this to the number for Christ. The 3 ribs that connect indirectly are linked to Jesus Christ, and this grouping of 3 and 4 is then highlighted as a significant repeating pattern.
This is a really key part of the source's methodology. To support the claim about this 3 and 4 pattern, it pulls examples from the Bible, suggesting the pattern in our ribs is mirrored in Scripture.
So having established its method in the torso, the source then applies that same logic to our limbs. Let's move on to the arms and legs and see how this thing builds.
Okay, here's where the source presents a truly surprising parallel. Using its own method of counting the bones in the arms and hands, it arrives at a total of 343. It then points out that this is the exact same number as the speed of sound in meters per second. Kind of wild, right? The analysis then breaks down that number, 343, mathematically, showing that it's the product of 7 times 7 times 7. And this repetition of the number 7 is used to, once again, connect the anatomy back to its core numerology for Christ. Focusing in even more, this viewpoint counts the bones in each palm, identifying a total of 21. And this number becomes the basis for another whole layer of interpretation.
Now this is where the interpretation gets very specific. The theory claims that the number 21 for the left hand and its reverse, 12 for the right hand, can be used to derive the numerical values for Jesus and Christ.
So the crucial point here is this 21-12 pattern. The source specifically asks us to remember this number pair derived from the hands because it claims this pattern is the key to its final and what it calls its most powerful piece of evidence.
A similar analysis has then applied to the lower limbs. The source presents a total bone count for the legs and feet, also using it to derive its key numbers. The analysis even argues the foot has a structure that's analogous to the hand, again identifying a pattern of 21 bones to find its numerical signatures.
All right, so after this detailed tour of individual body parts, the source brings it all together with what it presents as a final, overarching argument that's meant to tie all these pieces together.
Now, at this point, you might be thinking exactly this. Is this just created pattern matching, or is there something more to it? Well, the source anticipates the skepticism and offers one last layer of analysis as its answer.
To make its final point, the source divides the skeleton, now excluding the arms, into 3 logical sections: a middle torso section, a lower part, and a top part, each with its own specific bone count.
And here is the crucial claim. The source asserts that this torso section is composed of exactly 37 bones, that's the number for Christ, and the lower part is made of 73 bones, the number for Jesus.
And this is where it all comes full circle. Remember that 21-12 pattern from the palms that we were told to keep in mind? Well, here is where the source brings it back for its final reveal. This is the climax of the argument. It points out that the number 37 is the 12 prime number, and 73 is the 21st prime number.
This, it claims, directly links the major bone counts of the body, 37 and 73, back to that 12-21 pattern found in our very hands.
The source frames this entire mathematical journey as a form of divine revelation, concluding with this quote to suggest that this code was declared from the beginning and embedded within creation itself.
And so, the theory leaves us with a question. Is this an ancient blueprint, deliberately encoded into our biology, or a compelling and intricate example of our human search for patterns? It's a fascinating question to ponder. Thanks for watching.